After a good night's rest, Ash set off for his next stop, all the way to Pewter City, where hopefully the gym leader Brock will be nothing like Misty. As he reaches the entrance of Mount Moon, he peeks into the cave, and instantly a Zubat latches onto his face. He shakes it off frantically, and it flies back into the cave. There's more where the rat came from, he thought to himself as he sighed. Then he remembered something. Surge said that he never traveled through the cave route, and actually took the mountainous path instead. Yeah, that sounded like the better option in this case, because there won't be any Zubats on top of the mountain. With that in mind, Ash started his long climb onto Mount Moon. Although the terrain was tough, it was nothing that he didn't drill on before. Pause. Soon enough, he reached the peak of the mountain, and it was all downhill to Pewter City from there. But then Ash noticed something. This high altitude and this rough terrain could be a perfect place to get some training in. He sent out his Raichu and Nidoran and started his training sessions. The high altitude contributed to small amounts of oxygen, and this resulted in Nidoran and even Ash getting tired rather quickly. However, to their surprise and absolute horror, Raichu was still training, doing a little shadow boxing over his trainer's exhausted body, as if trying to taunt him and try to get him up. That's quite an energetic Pokemon you have over there, young man. An old and raspy voice called out to Ash, and as he turned around and saw an old man wearing a gi and a black belt. This must be one of the fighting type specialists, Ash thought to himself. He had battled a couple of them back in the gym. The old martial artist introduced himself as George, and for the purpose of a little humor and reference to the MMA fans, let's just say his name is George St. Pierre. George then went on to compliment Ash on his choice of picking this place to train, and taking this path instead of the tunnel. He then requests Ash for a battle against his Raichu. As soon as he says that, any fatigue that Ash's body felt is wiped away from a surge of adrenaline, as he springs back up to his feet, accepting the challenge put forward. George, however, has a little stipulation in this thing. Raichu has to only rely on his physical attributes and not on electric type attacks. Ash is a bit confused, but hey, whatever, handicaps make you strong. George sends out a Machop, which looks strong and well conditioned for this environment. The battle starts and Raichu is actually holding his own, despite the battle being in Machop's area of expertise. What Raichu lacks in technique, he makes up in brute strength and just a different level of cardio. The battle ends in a stalemate, with neither Pokemon getting a clear upper hand over the other. George is extremely impressed by Ash's performance and tells him that he will help him out on his quest to battle Brock for the Boulder Badge. He then gives Ash and his Pokemon some citrus berries and a bottle of fresh water, which heals them up quite well. So after this, the training begins for Ash and his Pokemon. George trains Nidoran and Raichu in their physical strength and mental conditioning, and also teaches them some pretty good fighting type moves which would come in handy against Brock. Furthermore, he tells Ash that his Nidoran has a lot of untapped power which it refuses to use, and Ash says that he is confused by the same concept itself. And George tells him that there is something different about his Nidoran, something which is conflicting, and he should focus on that. And George cannot tell Ash what it is, because that's something that Ash needs to figure out on his own. After a few more days of training, George says that he has taught Ash everything that he could teach, and now is time for a test. He then points Ash to a cliff and tells him that there lives a rather powerful Mankey, who the locals dub as Mankey King. Ash and his Pokemon must engage in a battle against the said Mankey King and emerge victorious, and once again Raichu is not allowed to use thunder attacks. So with that, Ash goes to the cliff, where he notices a particularly large Mankey sitting on top of the cliff, with piles of banana peels lying around him. Upon noticing Ash, the Pokemon thinks Ash is here for an offering or even a trade. So when Ash throws something at him, which is his Pokeball, The Mankey mistakes it for an apple, and trying to pull a prank on Ash, it instead throws just a banana peel, not actual banana. The peel lands on Ash's face as the Mankey starts to laugh hysterically, catching the Pokeball. But just then, the Pokeball opens up and envelops the Mankey. But after a few shakes, the ball breaks apart, and Mankey is released, absolutely infuriated. Ash orders Nidoran to go into battle and fire off a poison sting to subdue the big monkey Pokemon. And Nidoran does just that, following it up with its new mastered double kick. But as soon as the double kick lands, Nidoran makes eye contact with the Mankey, and once again it freezes up. And Ash, frustrated at this happening yet again, recalls it and orders Raichu to go on ahead. A fierce battle then ensues between Raichu and Mankey, with both trading big shots back and forth. But the fruits of Raichu's training are evident, as soon it gains the upper hand and lights Mankey up with its powerful crushing punches. At one point, Mankey uses a low kick, which does decent damage, but is able to sweep Raichu off his feet and land him on his back. However, Raichu once again gains the upper hand and wraps Mankey up in his tail and prepares a powerful focus punch, and Mankey, in a desperate attempt, bites down on the mouse's tail. This infuriates Raichu, and it lands a flush focus punch on Mankey's face, wobbling it back, and taking advantage of the opportunity, Ash throws a Pokeball, successfully capturing the Mankey King. George is extremely impressed at this and tells Ash that he has taught him everything that he could, and now it's time for him to head over to Pewter City. Ash thanks him again and bids farewell before heading down. The journey to Pewter took a few hours, and by the time he arrived at the city, it was already nightfall, so he went to the Pokemon Center to rest up. He called his mother to let her know that he is in Pewter City and will most probably be home in the next 3 days. Then he called the Vermilion City Gym. Whiskers informed him that Surge had already departed for Indigo Plateau, as a new challenger from the Johto region had emerged. After spending the night at the Pokemon Center, Ash arrived at the gym early morning. As he entered the gym, it was illuminated by him opening the gym door, and the sunlight entering from behind Ash made him appear like a silhouette to the person sitting all the way at the other end of the room. "Is that really you? You decided to return, huh?" A voice called out to Ash. Are you talking to me?" Ash asked, confused. Brock, the gym leader, who now noticed Ash properly, apologized, saying that he mistook him for someone else. Wink wink. He then actually recognizes Ash and tells him that Lt.Surge talked very highly of him in a Pokemon League meeting a few months ago. So he's excited to test Ash's skills in a Pokemon battle, assuming that's what Ash is here for, and Ash confirms it. So with that, the battle is set up. The Proctor announces it will be a 3-on-3 battle with only the challenger being permitted to switch Pokemon. The battle starts off with Ash sending out Nidoran and Brock sending out Geodude. Ash is extremely doubtful of Nidoran, but decides to give it yet another chance, as it could at least try and inflict some damage on the Geodude even if it gets scared, and like something is better than nothing, right? But Nidoran is actually doing extremely well, and with repeated double kicks and dig attacks, it's pushing Geodude back, who is unable to mount any meaningful offense, and most of the time is left on the defensive side. A final double kick takes Geodude out, giving Ash the lead. Next, Brock sends out a Rhyhorn, and Rhyhorn lets out a loud roar and stomps his feet as if marking his territory and asserting his dominance. Nidoran is trying his level best to maintain his composure, and actually seeing Rhyhorn's antics starts to send a strange surge of power through his body, but almost immediately it is suppressed by an equally strange sensation of fear and timidness or timidity. What's it? Timidness or timidity? Let me know in the comments. It's as if two separate forces are trying to coexist within him. Ash yells at him to use a double kick, and by complete accident the strength side of him takes over, and he intercepts the now charging Rhyhorn with an abnormally powerful double kick, which stuns the rock Rhino Pokemon. But this rally was short-lived, as just as it was over just as quickly as it had begun. Once again Nidoran shelled up, unable to mount any more offense. But Brock orders Rhyhorn to not attack. He tells Ash to recall his Pokemon, as he is not in the right mindset to battle. Ash follows up once again, disappointed, but more so confused at Nidoran's bizarre situation. But this is not the time to think about that. There's a battle to be won. He sends out his newly captured Mankey, who is confused at being let out of his Pokeball for the very first time, and looks around at his surroundings before fixing his eyes on the Raichu who defeated him. Without any warning whatsoever, the Mankey King lunged at Raichu, as Ash held him back and told him he would get to battle Raichu only after this gym battle was over. Brock was weirded out by this and wondered if Surge had oversold this kid. Mankey rushed into the battle against Rhyhorn, trading powerful attacks back and forth. Ash then remembers one of Mankey's moves and orders a low kick, which deals extra damage due to Rhyhorn's size, and instantly takes it out of the battle, once again giving Ash the lead. Brock is impressed and sends out his final Pokemon, Onix. Ash thinks this will be an easy win and orders another low kick, but Onix displaying a surprising amount of speed for his size, uses a dig to dodge before sending Mankey flying into a boulder. Mankey retaliates with a karate chop, but Brock orders a bind attack, and just like the battle against Raichu, Mankey tries to bite his way out of it, which causes Ash and Raichu to faceplant. This only ends up hurting Mankey's teeth, and a close-range Dragon Breath takes him out. Finally, it's Raichu's turn to battle, and Ash immediately tells Raichu to go for a focus punch. Brock thinks that Ash is panicking right now, and that's why he ordered the coverage move, which is more often than not reserved as an element of surprise. He orders Onix to use Dig, and Ash smirks, hoping Brock would do just that. Ash tells him that many a times before this, trainers have tried to use this move against him and Raichu, and most of the times Raichu would either send a thunderbolt down the hole or pull the attacker using his long tail. But since neither of those methods will work against Onix out here, so he had to improvise. Raichu smirks and lands the focus punch down on the ground, leveling the entire field and causing Onix a lot of damage. This would prevent Onix from using Dig again, because another one of the focus punch / earthquake attacks in this case would definitely knock it out. But despite this, Onix still has the type advantage and tries to rely on it by using an earthquake attack. And this is the moment where Ash realizes why Surge made him sit through how to counter ground type class for all those days. Raichu, through pure instinct, slams his tail into the ground, thus elevating him into the air. Ash orders Raichu to charge up another focus punch, but Onix uses a Dragon Breath attack to disrupt it, causing Raichu to fall back. After some more back and forth, this sequence repeats itself again, but this time Raichu is prepared. He dodges the Dragon Breath by actually falling down and once again slamming his fist to the ground, causing magnitude shockwaves which finally takes Onix out and giving Ash a hard-fought victory. Raichu tries to give Ash a fist bump, but his hands or paws are hurting after all the punching he has done in this battle. Brock thanks Ash for the battle, saying Surge was right about him. He gives Ash the technical machine Rock Tomb along with the Boulder Badge, saying that it would come in handy for his Mankey. After healing his Pokemon, Ash heads off southwards towards Viridian Forest, but a strange boy blocks his path. Ash Ketchum, we finally meet.